Hey guys, Sniz here, and this morning I found a really interesting post over on Reddit. So this is the post. It discusses a new way that you can gain near infinite Fortify from just using flasks. So link to that post in the description down below. I just wanted to share the interaction with you guys real quick. So the interaction happens between using a Petrified Blood, any form of degen. In this specific case, we're going to be using Righteous Fire, a life flask, non-instant life flask, and then also the notable Hardened Scars that gives you Fortify while you're recovering life from a life flask. So how does this interaction work? Now, as you can see, I currently have Petrified Blood reserved or active, meaning that my new maximum life is 2135. Now, this number is important, so remember 2135. If I then were to activate a life flask, pretty much nothing would happen because I already have max life. But if we then activate Righteous Fire, as you can see, my life starts to degen. Now, if I then use this standard normal life flask, that's non-instant, as you can see, my life would start to go up and I would have Fortify. But like you guys see, I still have Fortify because we're technically not reaching 2135 life again. It's only 2134. So we pretty much have Fortify for the entire flask duration because we're not reaching max life technically. Now this isn't just something interesting with this specific flask. As you can see, this flask restores a different amount of life over a different period, and the interaction is still the exact same. Now the interesting thing here is even if we then decide to use an instant life flask, as long as we don't hit our maximum cap for life, you can see that we still have this effect active. Now something that's really interesting, through this mechanic we can actually queue life flasks. So if we then activate our Righteous Fire again, we're going to start taking damage. And then if we use the standard life flask that has bleed immunity and bleed removal, you can see we gain Fortify and this effect. But if we just spam this flask and reset the charges a few times, as you can see, the flask duration runs out down here, and we don't have this effect anymore. But as you can see, we have this weird queuing thing happening. And even if we don't have bleed removal or a bleed immunity anymore, we're still gaining the regen from the life flask, queued up a few times, depending on how many charges you use. Now, combining this with something like the Soul of Rislata that gives you life flasks if you haven't used the life flask recently, and some reduced flask charges used on the tree and increased flask charges gained, you can pretty much, or technically you could gain infinite Fortify and like have your life flask up pretty much forever. Now this is interesting because this effect works with something like the Divination Distillate as well. So usually this flask effect stops when you reach full life. But as you can see, even though our life isn't moving, this flask still has the 5-second duration active. So I guess the TLDR of this mechanic is that the degen affecting you should be more than the life regen that you have, but then combining that with the life flask, the two should be more than the degen affecting you. And then if you have Petrified Blood, it will keep your HP from reaching max. And so you pretty much have permanent Fortify as long as you have life flasks. That's the mechanic. Like I said, the original post is in the comment section down below. I'm Sniz, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.